Bitcoin is actually down 15% and came down to our next level of this ascending channel where we found support, which is also right where we have this 21-day moving average. But how low can Bitcoin go before we continue this uptrend? As myself and dozens of other people have been saying for weeks, this is basically exactly what happened as we exited the bear market into the bull market back in 2016 and 2017. Basically, the exact same thing so far has happened, but if we're going to continue this, then Bitcoin actually has to go lower to these specific levels. And where can we look for Bitcoin to find support in the short term? Welcome back, you savages. We have got some special price targets to be talking about in today's video, and it should come as no surprise as we've been warning against this week after week, and in fact most people have. With Bitcoin's price. Specifically in yesterday's video, we also talked about, will this market continue along the normal cycle of pulling back to the 21 WMA, or will it continue to diverge over the next few months, right? And we have not gotten an answer just yet because the 21 WMA is actually much further to the downside than we've actually gone so far. So we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about a lot of these price targets in the short term and what seems most likely, because this is one of our first substantial moves to the downside in the last 7 weeks. Finally, we get an answer on when or where we can expect a pullback, as we got it last night, guys. Obviously, the market cannot go up forever, and Bitcoin has now done some extremely key things that we're going to be looking at on a few of these charts here, guys. And we're going to be talking about price targets that if you don't have in mind, then you're making a huge mistake and you're probably ill-prepared to be in the market. So you need to have these price targets in the back of your mind so you're not shocked or surprised when we have moves like this. And did you guys know if you turn this button blue, you have a great chance of scooping the bottom of the Bitcoin chart and scooping the bottom of your love interest? Wow, so guys, if we start here on this 1 hourly chart, this looks pretty drastic, and I saw Twitter absolutely explode as this was happening, and I was just legitimately confused why people were panicking. It absolutely baffled me that for 7 straight weeks we had green weekly candles and people all of a sudden getting doom and gloom because of a pullback, as if they weren't expecting it. I'm just absolutely shocked. I think most people were expecting this, and most people were not shocked by this. But yeah, I was just surprised that there was anybody that was absolutely going nuts on Twitter. So guys, in the last 24 hours, after kind of just topping out at this level here, right about 19,500 exactly, only a few $100s away from all-time highs for Bitcoin's price, currently we're actually about 13% down over the last 24 hours, and we went as low as about 17% to the downside. So far, we found support here at this key level, right about 16.5. And if you remember from a few videos ago, we talked about 2 huge whale clusters. Basically, 16,500 and 15,500 are huge levels that it is likely that the whales might not want the price to really go below that. And so far, we've seen bounces at these 2 key levels. But we're going to be talking about a lot of price targets that you have to have in mind. And if you have these price targets realistically in the back of your mind, then this move would not have shocked you. You would not have been concerned at all. And again, that's why I was so confused. I was confused why people are panicking, why people even care that we dumped 10% or something like that after literally rallying like $8,000 in the last 2 months straight. We basically just went straight the last 2 months up. We basically just went straight up the last 2 months. Okay, if you're not expecting a pullback after seeing something like that, then I'm not sure what to tell you. And guys, clearly as well, this is the best illustration of that. Really, ever since the very beginning of October, we have just been going straight up. This is the parabolic chart right here, and as you can see, we have now broken that. And so far, actually, again, where we found support is actually this 21-day moving average, which is right around 16,800. Okay, we've also come into this area of previous resistance, okay, maybe turning into support, but I personally think that if this is going to be a longer term downturn, but there's something huge you have to keep in mind, because depending on how fast this dip gets bought up, it's going to either validate this institutional money or just show us that we're still in the phase where the 21 WMA is going to kind of be the precursor. It's kind of going to be the destination of these pullbacks for the rest of this bull market. Okay, so for one, we have broken this structure. So in the short term, I don't expect more upside, right? I definitely think that it is likely that we'll get some of those pullbacks that we've been talking about for weeks that people were saying will never come. but it does look like that could be the case. So if we go to this chart as well, you see as we broke this level about 18,000, plummeted all the way down to our next level on this ascending channel to about 16,000. Specifically, it went so far to 16,300 roughly, right? And bounced up, and you can see the 21-day moving average is acting as support now. The next leg to the downside is actually about 14.5 if we fail to hold these levels here. But we also can't forget 15.5 as a whale cluster, right? So again, in my opinion, we have a lot of support on the way down, and we're going to find support on one of these legs before continuing and breaking all-time highs, still very likely before the end of 2020, right? People lose their minds when we see big red candles in very, very small amounts of time. But guys, this happens all the time, and specifically on this chart, that is exactly what happened, right? So if we go back to the last bear market, this is a chart I've shown you dozens of times, and in fact, most people have shown you dozens of times because it's extremely realistic, and it's something we should expect, right? As Bitcoin was first coming up to test these all-time highs, it got literally within just a percentage point away or two from breaking this all-time high back in January of 2017. It failed, and it pulled back from 1,200 to 730, which is about almost a 40% pullback, right? It came back to this 21-week moving average. It bounced, and then it ultimately broke all-time highs. It broke the all-time highs, but then it also, again, had another significant pullback. Let's see here, another 30% pullback, all within that same few-month period, right? And then basically, once it found support yet again, where at the 21-weekly moving average exactly, it continued. That's when it rallied, kind of 3x'd in just a matter of like 2 months, and then it ultimately went to 20,000 US dollars. So we're seeing the exact same thing here. I'll remove this. We're literally within percents of breaking this all-time high here. So if you're not anticipating that it is possible, we could have a move down to the 21-week, maybe down to this $12,000 and $13,000 area. That needs to be in your mind. That needs to be realistic to you. And that needs to be realistic to you and still remain bullish, because that can happen easily, and this market is still extremely bullish. Now, if we start breaking 12K, then it's a different story. Then I might say, wow, what's going on here? This is getting more bearish. But guys, we're not even close to that. So I have no idea why people are panicking. Again, I'm sure it's just the new people that are doing that, but it just confuses me why everybody loses their minds when we have a little pullback, which is only a fraction of what the actual bullish, healthy pullback could be, which would be down to that 21-week moving average, which is much, much, much further than the price currently is, right? If you're going to start panicking, at least wait until we get to 12,000 US dollars before you start panicking. But basically what that would look like, I just copied that exact same thing here. What that would look like on this chart would be potentially a move down. And again, I'm not even saying this would happen. We have much more institutional buying pressure now, so it makes it a little less likely, but I'm just trying to plot out a worst case scenario that we can have, but still reach all-time highs by the end of 2020. So imagine this, guys. Say we have that pullback. We were at 19.5. Let's get a pullback down to this 21, 36% to the downside. Pretty much identical to what the last pullback was as we were exiting the bear market back in 2016 and 2017, right? We found support at the 21 week. You can see this is exactly what it would look like. And then we end up breaching. We end up running up to about 22,000 US dollars per Bitcoin before maybe another pullback, and then ultimately heading to, who knows, 40, 50, 60,000 US dollars in just the first few months of 2021. So that is the scenario I'm looking at. And so if you have that definitively in the back of your head, then you should not have panicked last night. You should not be panicking today about this move, because this is completely normal. What's not normal is just having 7 green weekly candles to the upside and expecting another 7 green weekly candles to the upside. That's not normal. And as well, guys, here on this RSI, we kind of came up to this exact same level. Again, all of this kind of is repeating almost exactly. So again, none of this should be as any surprise. We came up to basically the same level within 1 or 2 points on the RSI up to like 84, 85. Remember, after finding support here on the 53 line, just like we did in the previous cycle. So again, a pretty drastic pullback, bringing this RSI even back into the not overbought area would be totally normal. So again, I'm not saying any of this will happen definitively, but what I'm saying is it's likely, and you need to be prepared for that. If you're prepared with your positions, with your portfolio, and also most importantly mentally for this to happen, okay, the writing is on the wall. It literally showed us exactly what it has done before, so it should not be surprising to anyone. But ultimately, pullback targets I'm looking for, 21 days is the first thing we're seeing, if it will hold, right? We have to play it by ear, but the 16.5, 15.5, And at the very lowest, the $12,000 level, those are the massive levels I'm looking at, right? So 16.5, 15.5, actually about 14.2 as well, and then 12. So over the next five or so thousand US dollars, there's about 4 targets within that $5,000 range of where it could drop that I think are going to be bounce areas, accumulation areas, and bottom areas, right? So with this chart in mind, nobody should be stressed out about this. This was going to happen, okay? I honestly thought it would happen about a week or so ago. I didn't even think we would go up this high, right? I was saying that there should be a pullback soon, there should be. And we actually, again, Bitcoin surprises us every once in a while. It continued to go up despite everything. And now it looks as though, again, I don't want to speak too soon because Bitcoin could still rally past 19 within the next day or two. I really hope not. I hope this is a more sustained pullback, right? I hope this lasts at least another week, 2, 3 weeks maybe, before we get that bounce similar to what happened in the last cycle, which I think is ultimately the most likely scenario. Huge, guys. So if you're new to the channel, as always, make sure to subscribe and turn those post notifications. Anybody that's looking to get a hardware wallet, make sure to take advantage. Only 4 days left using the code BlackFriday20 at checkout. And as well, anybody looking to trade these markets, only if you have experience, because it is extremely risky, whether it's leverage or spot. Trading in general is risky, but if you're interested, make sure to use the link below to help support the channel. And if you have experience, and we do have a free trading tutorial listed below under T4, 5.5 minutes called Trading Tutorial Updated there on T4. Absolutely free.